Et son château le montre moins en fait. Dieu est l'estuel, Dieu t'aime le ton noir rolling, vos frosten tout.
The National Shrine of Our Lady of Good Help is located in Champion, which is of Belgian heritage. And in 1859, the Blessed Virgin Mary appeared to a young woman named Adele Brise, who had immigrated from Belgium with her family. Now, the chapel to this day remains a place of worship and healing for the Belgian community. And it still is referred to as the chapel to all the members of the community, myself included, from when I was a young girl. But during the Great Fire of 1871, the pioneers and settlers went to the chapel to survive. They prayed and certainly what were rewarded. They were saved, and none of the grounds of the chapel was touched.
The old chapel had a choir above in the back, and the choir had a railing, and it was all lined up with crutches, people that had come there, made out of tree branches and everything else that they could find. And they were cured when they were there, and they left the crutches there.
Other people got cured by going in the chapel.
Yeah. A lot of people got cured there. There were a lot of miracles done there. Dans le vieille chapelle, il y avait des hymnes qui allaient chanter. Les gens allaient chanter là-haut. Tout le côté, c'était tout baston d'accroche. Les femmes ont roté là où c'était. Elles ont dit fait, elles ont dit la crosse là. Elles ont râlé ça. Elles ont roté, c'était incorrect. When I was 2 years old, I developed a blood tumor here by my cheek, and it was big enough that it was like a loaf of bread. It hung on my shoulder. And I went to the doctor, and the family doctor said there's nothing you can do. He told my dad, don't never have surgery on it because it's all blood vessels. He says you'll bleed to death. And nothing you can do, he says. So my mother took me to the chapel. She walked around the altar on her knees carrying me. When she was exhausted, Sister Pauline was there yet. And Sister Pauline would come and carry me, and instead I prayed, and we went a lot of times to the chapel every week. And finally my mother says to my dad, I think it's shrinking, he says. And he kept going to the chapel and kept getting smaller and smaller. This scar here is all that's left. That all went away. Quand à 2 ans, il y a eu un tumeur de ma salle. C'était gros, ça venait comme un bouquet de pain, une taille de chose de pain. Ça me spall à droite. Là, c'était au médecin, le médecin dit que ça va rien qui plus une fille. Ça fait maman prenait le chapelle, ça c'était le chapelle, donc bien sûr, donc par semaine. Elle prie ce Seigneur tout de l'auté. Jusqu'à temps qu'elle ne savoir que c'était rien de bois. Donc, la Sister Pauline, la sœur venait me porter. Elle me portait pour toutes les choses. Et maman menait à la chapelle, bien sûr, un coup par semaine. Et tout à coup, ça commençait à aller voir, tout ce qu'une mère se.
There's a lot of mothers that made a procession to the chapel, which was 11 miles. And my mother was one of them, praying for the war to be over, that us boys would come home. Because they stole l'armée, de Brabant des mômes, des grands qu'on rotait au pied. Puis en procession pour aller à chapelle. C'est 11 000 d'Almo jaune.
11 000. Allez, d'api.
Mama a dit ça quand.
Oh,
But as I was a little altar boy, I used to go, our church used to have a 7 o'clock mass there, and there was 20 little crippled children. And that was before the new chapel was built. So off to the west there, where they got all them new places today, that's where the little children used to play. They used to have to cross outside, and then there was about 10 nuns there. And the school, there was a school there about 20 feet, and I remember the school. See, and when I was a young kid, where we got that new parking lot there, that used to be the pasture for the cows at night. So the cows, when they'd park cars sometimes, you had to pass in the pie. But anyhow, when we'd go around it, there was the chicken coop there, and there was the cow barn. I'd go in the cow barn. Children used to go to school there, and the farmers used to bring them some stuff, food. That was what the chapel, it was really a place for the crippled children. They used to protect them and help them, But I was there all the while. Then after I got done being altar boy, I carried the canopy where the Blessed Sacrament is. I carried that for about 30 years, and now my son took my place. So I was dedicated to that place, very much so.
There's Mary holding Jesus on her lap, but now it's set up in like a glass. He's totally enclosed. And I remember, if you ever go in there, his hand is this way, and there's a little hole like this in his hand, and people used to stick money in there. They'd stick money in there. And one time, I went down there, and there was a $100 bill in there. Anybody could take it. So I ran right away, and I told the nuns about it. And then right away she'd come and she would take it. But now you can't no more. It's all totally enclosed.
Christmas was not even as important as the 15th of August, because the 15th of August was a big deal. I lived half a mile from the chapel, and the relatives all came for the 15th of August at the chapel. Then they came to my house for dinner, and that was about the only time we had Belgian pies and beef stew. Ça, c'est vraiment important le 15 d'août, parce que le 15 d'août, dans le parenté de venir de Granby pour aller à la chapelle, on est venu dans notre mot jaune pour déjeuner. C'est comme ça que tout le monde est à chaud dans le 15 d'août.
We used to go to join every 15th of August. That was a must. Yeah. 15th of August, there was a bunch of priests there, and we'd always go with him. And we were older boys, but and they'd stay there a couple of hours, and we'll do all the priests, and they'd say their mass and that, and we were older boys. We'd stay outside. We'd go to church, but then after that, they had a big doings. They had to go for dinner, and those guys would play outside.
The procession, on the end of May, we always had a big procession. They went all the way around, people would come. But not so much as on the 15th of August. 15th of August, it was the Blessed Virgin, had appeared to Sister Adele in 1859. So that was a big event. It was time to make the procession. And as soon as the bishop or the priest was done, when we start to make the procession, as soon as he stepped off the altar outside, put his foot on the ground, we start ringing the bell. And we rang the bell all the while, during the procession. And there were so many people that used to come. See, that was during the war. In 44, 45, people, buses and buses and buses. And the procession was completely solid all the way around. And when the bishop came there off to the left, he had to stop, because he had to let these people that were coming here to turn around here to get out, and let the ones that were still coming to make the procession yet, that's how much people there was. And there was always them little girls, there's a lot of nice girls that they were usually about maybe 8, 9, 10, 12 years old. They had a nice basket with flowers. And them flowers were taken apart, and they drop them, as the bishop would come with or the priest with the Blessed Sacrament. They drop him on what's around, and going around and around and around, and then after the procession, then people would come. They'd come and they'd pick up them little flowers all over. They put them in their pocket, and they put them in an envelope, and they put them in their purse, because supposedly they were blessed. See, because they went across with the Blessed Sacrament. They were blessed. Then after that, when that was over with, well, then we went back on the side altar, and then we had benediction, and then it was over with. But then after that, boy, it was really the party then, because they had big tents set up. They had a tent, 2 big tents, and I mean big ones, and they had coffee in one, and they had hot dogs, hamburgers, and meats and stuff like that. And the other one, they had ice cream, donuts, cake, cookies, and that. Then they had another one sitting on the side, kind of a nice one. And there they had all religious articles, that you could, rosaries and prayer books. And matter of fact, sometimes even at the second one, there was another firm that came in that I still remember that. So then, and then the altar boys, they put us a card. We had they put our name on it, altar boy. So we could eat ice cream, we could get a piece of cake, a piece of pie, all day. And that would last till 5 o'clock, And at 5 o'clock, we always had to go home to milk. Then right after milking, we'd come back again, sit up at the chapel. And there were still people there yet. There's still people there yet. And we'd stay there till dark, and then after dark, my folks and I, everybody would help. We bring everything back in the chapel.